Good evening and welcome to Cleveland Kurenti 2025. We are so excited to have you here, and joining us tonight from Slovenia is Adela Pukl, and she is a curator at the Slovene Ethnographic Museum in Ljubljana. Thank you so much for joining us, Adela.
Hello, dober večer, good evening, and welcome for inviting me.
Always a pleasure. Many of you may recognize Adela from our past conversations. She's been a presenter at the festival before, and she is one of the world's foremost experts on carnivals, or in American English, that you may be more familiar with the term Mardi Gras, that occur in Slovenia and within Slovenian populations, even outside the country. So thank you for joining us once again. Always a fantastic time to talk with you on these more academic subjects. And tonight is a topic I'm really excited about because it is about more of a modernization of Carnival or Mardi Gras in Slovenia. So first, I would like to give a shout out to our sponsors and grantors. Tonight and the rest of this coming week would absolutely not be possible with the financial contributions of our sponsors. And a very big thank you to everybody who has financially contributed to this festival. In particular, our presenting sponsors, American Mutual Life Association, Destination Cleveland, and Shliga Drug. We thank you very much. I'd also like to give a shout out to our grantors. Cleveland Kurenti is supported in part by the residents of Cuyahoga County through a public grant from Cuyahoga Arts and Culture. Thank you so much to the Cuyahoga Arts and Culture and to the residents of Cuyahoga County. Next, I'd like to thank the Ohio Arts Council. Cleveland Kurenti is made possible in part by an investment of public funds from the Ohio Arts Council, or the OAC. The OAC is the state agency that funds and supports quality arts experiences to strengthen Ohio communities culturally, educationally, and economically. Thank you to the Ohio Arts Council. And finally, I'd like to thank another major grantor of Cleveland Kurenti, the Office of Slovenians Abroad. Thank you so much for your financial support. Hvala lepa. All right, and I'd also like to thank our partners. We have a number of partner organizations. Without these folks within the Slovenian American community and the Cleveland community, we would not be able to bring you the programming and services that we have lined up for this year. So thank you to all of these organizations. We are grateful for your partnership. And now let's go ahead and roll into your presentation. So in order to avoid technical difficulty, Adela has pre-recorded her presentation, but as it's playing, please put your comments in the Facebook and YouTube comments section, and we will monitor those, and then we'll discuss them in a live Q&A following the pre-recorded presentation. So thank you so much, and let's get into the presentation now.
Okay.
To je muzej. Glasbila, maske, oblačila, senčne lutke, panske končnice, zibelke, prti, ure, lonci. Ja, to je muzej. In še mnogo več. Muzej, ki varuje slovensko in zunaj evropsko kulturno dediščino. To je muzej, ki živi. To je Slovenski etnografski muzej, ali SEM. SEM hrani najpomembnejše zbirke o kulturi in načinu življenja na Slovenskem od 19. stoletja naprej. Ampak mi gremo nazaj. Zametki muzeja so se pojavili tukaj, pred več kot 200 leti, ko so nastajale prve narodopisne zbirke. Pred 100 leti pa je bil uradno ustanovljen Kraljevi etnografski muzej. Zbirke v njem niso bile le iz Slovenije, temveč tudi iz Azije, Afrike in Amerike. Najstarejše med njimi sta muzeju na primer podarila misionarja Friderik Baraga in Ignacij Knobleha. Keri legendi! Od takrat so zbiratelji in kustosi muzej dopolnili zbirkami iz Slovenije in sveta. Njim gre zasluga, da se je do danes nabralo več kot 40.000 predmetov. Danes je Slovenski etnografski muzej osrednji državni etnološki muzej, lociran na muzejski ploščadi Metelkova. Njegova naloga je
Ohranjanje neprecenljivih zbirk z področji snovne, družbene in duhovne kulture. In sem kot koordinator varstva nesnovne kulturne dediščine je med tistimi, ki so zaslužni za vpise na UNESCO reprezentativni seznam.
A lahko jaz prevzamem?
Vsekakor.
Sem je muzej, ki živi. Njegove zbirke lahko s svojimi spomini bogatimo tudi sami. To je sodoben muzej za vse. Eni uživamo na vodenih ogledih, drugi na najrazličnejših spremljevalnih dogodkih. Tudi za otroke in družine. Knjižnica Sem je odprta tudi za javnost. Sem ima 2 ateljeja, v katerih delujejo lončari in tkalki. Otroci se lahko preizkusijo v ročnih spretnostih v delavnici Mali mojster. Wow, mojstersko! Trgovina Sem ponuja izbrane izdelke slovenskih ustvarjalcev. A lahko eno vrečko, prosim? In kavarna Sem, ki je... hvala. Res top lokal. Ja, vsega tega ne bi bilo brez varuhov, ki ohranjajo zbirke. Skrbijo za njihovo preučevanje, spoznavanje in razumevanje. To je muzej, ki živi, diha z nami. Sem smo ljudje, varuhi dediščine že 100 let. Dobrodošli.
As you can see, we store a wide variety of museum objects, and among them are also carnival masks and costumes and the whole carnival outfits. But first, I would like to say something about the definitions. So in the United States, you may refer to this topic as Mardi Gras, but in Slovenia, we refer to this as a carnival time. In Slovenian, we call it pust. So it's like pust time. Today, the carnival season in Slovenia officially begins on Candlemas. That means like February 2nd. And lasts until Ash Wednesday. This is Wednesday after Carnival Tuesday. Activities or preparations for the carnival begin much earlier among the members of the carnival groups, and in some places at the end of December, in others already on St. Martin's Day, that's like November 11th. In the run-up to the carnival, the members of the carnival groups divide roles and tasks. They prepare carnival equipment, masks, and different things. And the interesting thing is that the date of the carnival time is movable and every year is tied to the celebration of Easter. So Carnival Tuesday is 46 days before Easter. That means like 40 fasting days and 6 Sundays, which depends on how long the carnival season is. At the beginning of the 21st century, we can distinguish between 3 types of carnival practices. So the first one is traditional carnival customs, including carnival groups going door to door through their villages, wishing everyone a good harvest. And these are primarily organized for carnival groups and the local community. The second are carnivals as tourist events in cities serving the passers-by, visitors, and the performers. And this is like more performance, it's like a stage performance in different kind of towns. And the third one is mask wearing in kindergartens and schools, people wearing masks to work, among friends at custom parties, private parties, usually in small informal groups. Here you can see Kurenti when they are going door to door in the village of Markovci, and they are accompanied by devils. Here we can see the second type of carnival practice. It's tourist event. It's Kurentovanje festival in Ptuj with the group of Kurenti running through the streets of Ptuj. Here we can see the third type, where children in kindergarten have masked themselves as different cartoon characters, animals, or princesses. The aim of the traditional carnival groups or carnival customs is to safeguard a local tradition that is tied to a sense of belonging and has continuity. We also can say that among all the carnival customs in Slovenia, music, dance, and local cuisine play an important role. When we read about the carnival customs in the past, we can see that customs were often closely connected with different rituals. During time, these practices evolved, and nowadays we can speak of carnival customs, but hardly ever about carnival rituals. Today, the carnival is more than anything about entertainment, in particular when it comes to tourist events and people who wear alone or in groups non-traditional masks for their own entertainment. One of the important aspects of carnivals today is also a chance to be critical about the different phenomena present in the society, especially with the emphasis on the criticism of the decisions made by politicians or as a response on. If we follow the development of carnival customs and the changing of carnival masks figures, taking as our example the most common and numerous carnival figure in Slovenia, the Kurent, we can see that the vitality of intangible cultural heritage, which is a condition for the safeguarding of a custom, has been present the whole time. Since the 1960s, the Kurent, also known as Kurent in the countryside, has been the most popular traditional carnival character in the area of Ptuj and Drava fields, in Haloze and Slovenske Gorice hills. Primarily, Kurenti were presented as ploughmen, and they accompanied the carnival group of ploughmen, as they continue to do today. According to written sources, their individual door-to-door round likely started in the second half of the 19th century in Markovci and the neighboring villages. The vitality of the heritage depends on bearers who identify with it, and as I heard in the village of Markovci when I was working in a field, someone said that he cannot imagine life without carnival. On the other hand, changes can be perceived at all levels of this carnival practice, which can be divided into two aspects. The first one is the carnival custom of door-to-door rounds of Kurenti in its original setting and time of year, when Kurenti wished their community a good harvest. And the second one are performances at various events, that means like festivals, processions, other events, in which the Kurent takes center stage as the carnival figure, whereas the carnival custom itself is only partly enacted, often even before or after the carnival time and in a different environment. Both parts of this carnival practice are today changing under the influence of various processes that are part of the constantly evolving society, including commodification, That means in the past, Kurenti wore outfits made of things that they had at home. Today, everything is made to measure by craftsmen and ordered in advance. We have few people who did their outfits by themselves, but mostly the Kurentia is made by craftsmen. Then we have decontextualization, when they perform outside carnival time and local environment. Then folklorization, when the carnival custom performance is not spontaneous, but organized and precisely determined. Then we have recontextualization. In the past, the parents were only young and unmarried men. Now also married men, women, and children can be practitioners of these practices, as we can see on this, on this photo. Then we have festivalization, the performance of the carnival groups at different carnival events and festivals is more important than going around the home village. And the last one, commercialization, when the heritage is often used for promotional purposes. Kurenti are considered the most numerous masks in Slovenia, and nowadays it is difficult to estimate how many exactly there are. During our fieldwork, we came across the information that there were already more than 2,000 of them, organized in different societies, most of which are united by the umbrella association of current societies. During time, their appearance and presentation was largely shaped by the first carnival tourist event and festival called Kurentovanje Carnival in Ptuj in 1960. Today, they go around in groups, accompanied by one or more devils. According to a description dating from 1887, the current of the Ptuj plain looked as if it had escaped from hell and had forged brotherhood with Lucifer himself. Since 1960s, Kurenti have become more attractive and increasingly similar to each other. Today, one Kurentia is very much like another, which is due to folklorization and craftsmanship, for they are made by dedicated masters with beautifully made hat pieces and hairy fur coats, much unlike the former ones that young men used to make in the first half of the 20th century from various animal skins and other local materials. The fact that there are so many of them in some ways brings several disadvantages. Other, less numerous carnival groups have control over who put on the masks, irrespective of the age and gender. They are aware of those outside their communities who wish to impersonate their characters. Another important aspect is that most of these carnival masks and outfits cannot simply be bought, for there are very few master craftsmen who can make them, and these refuse to work for external clients. In the case of the Kurentia, the outfit of the current, things are different. Anybody wishing to become a current can buy their Kurentia, which can even be bought on the online flea market Bocha, where we can read. In 2023, the number of ads for the current carnival costume recorded a 64% rise compared to 2022. Decontextualization refers to the appearance of the before-mentioned carnival groups of Kurenti outside carnival time and local environment. Until the second half of the 20th century, the door-to-door rounds took place from Carnival Sunday to Ash Wednesday, whereas in recent years the carnival time in the Ptuj area begins already at Candlemas. And according to the mayor of the municipality of Ptuj, this period is called the fifth season of the year, And during this part of the year, time is supposed to run differently. Since 2001, the event called Kurent Jump announces the beginning of Carnival time. Exactly at midnight on February 2nd, boys, men, women and children gather at a homestead near Ptuj. They do not yet wear furs and masks, hats on the head, but only leg warmers and bells. Jumping around the fire and ringing their bells, they announce the beginning of Carnival time. The Carnival time date is not fixed, so the period from Candlemas to Ash Wednesday varies accordingly. A similar custom is performed in the village of Marcoci, when at midnight at Candlemas, Kurenti gather and with pennants of the whip announce the pre-carnival time. And here is the third example of the jump of the current. It was in Cleveland in 2017 when I was visiting Cleveland for Cleveland's Kurentovanie. In the past, in villages near Ptuj, wearing kurentia used to be a privilege offered only to young unmarried men, whereas today, married men, women and children are also invited to join carnival groups and participate in rounds around the villages and other carnival events. As Nico Kuret, he was a researcher in the 70s and 80s of the 20th century, writes, a mask had always been an exclusive privilege of men. United in secret societies, masked men forged mythical rituals whose remnants are today's mask traditions. And so-called lads groups began to disintegrate in the interwar period. 3 of these lads groups in Slovenia still perform carnival customs today in their traditional form, have kept the initiation rites, mask and outfit secrets and out of reach to others. And these 3 groups are not Kurenti. According to Kurent's notes in his book entitled Maske slovenskih pokrajin, many places across Slovenia already had children and women, including married ones, wearing masks. Kurenti in particular are known to be the least traditional or the most progressive in these terms, which is reflected also in the recently active independent Kurent group of exclusively women. According to Aleš Gačnik, he's a researcher of Kurent in Slovenia, in the mid-20th century it was considered a disgrace for a Kurent to have his mask taken off, because his identity was to remain secret. Since the beginning of the 21st century onwards, the carnival time begins without the masks, as we saw at the Kurent jump. Kurenti take off their hats on their door-to-door rounds, and for carnivals often wear their hats on wooden clubs covered in hedgehog skin. And as Gačnik says, because Kurentia wearers like to show off in public for everyone to see who it is that wears the outfit. And the wearers include children, and the youngest do not even have a hat because it is too heavy for them to wear. The most significant impact on the Kurent's appearance and presentation can easily be attributed to Kurentovanie. Kurentovanie is an international carnival festival or tourist event that has been presenting various national and international carnival masks since its beginning. Lately, however, the organizers have been organizing concerts that have hardly anything to do with the carnival, was it not for the people who come wearing masks. The point is that it was not Kurentovanie as a carnival festival that was inscribed on the representative list. The most important fact is that door-to-door rounds of Kurenti were inscribed on the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2017. That means that when Kurenti are going in their local environment from door to door, this is the carnival custom that is inscribed on the UNESCO representative list. But most people are unaware that only the door-to-door rounds of Kurenti were inscribed on the representative list, however popular the Kurentovanje may be. In this sense, Kurenti represent a tourist product which local communities try to market for their own benefit. Its organizers use the UNESCO label and describe the festival as a unique experience. Kurentovanje is an event in which visitors watch a procession of many local and foreign masks. Yet, it should not be overlooked that this is but a theater of history, and carnival groups only the performers, not to mention that the event could hardly be called the biggest open-air museum, since the festival does not meet the definition of a museum. In 2023, the municipality of Tui opened the Kurent House on the initiative and in cooperation with the Association of Kurent Societies. The association sees the importance of Kurent's House, which is open to visitors not only during the carnival season, but throughout the year in the safeguarding and valorization of intangible cultural heritage through the development of new culture offerings and the integration of innovative practices of safeguarding and revitalizing heritage. Intangible cultural heritage without or with insufficiently diverse content remains unrecognized or unused. End of citat. The Kurent House, with its contents, represents the heritage of Kurent in the local environment and thus becomes the central point of the local tourist offer, which local communities, despite its uprooting from the primary time of its appearance, built on the intangible cultural heritage. According to them, the purpose of opening such a house is to safeguard and present the outstanding intangible cultural heritage of the city of Tui and its wider surroundings, raise the awareness of residents about the importance of cultural heritage, revive the city center, and improve the tourist offer of the city of Tui, with an emphasis on cultural tourism. The Association of Kurent Societies, whose purpose is the interlinking and representing the interests of its members, has written a request for a joint critical assessment of recent developments in the carnival costumes and calls for a return to their origins, but the changes in the Kurent character and its presentation nevertheless come through in every aspect. The described changes indicate how the practice of current carnival groups has expanded, their way forward, the time of their appearance, who takes part and why, and in the first place their mission, safeguarding of the tradition and entertainment. If we try to answer 5 simple questions about the functioning of currents in the past and today, we get such answers. So, what they are doing? In the past, there were just door-to-door rounds of Kurenti, but nowadays we have also performances at carnival festivals. When they did it, it was from Carnival Saturday to Carnival Tuesday or Ash Wednesday. But nowadays, it's from Candlemas to Ash Wednesday, where they were doing their door-to-door rounds in their own local environment, but now they are also traveling around at carnival festivals at home and abroad. Why they are doing this? They were chasing away the winter and inviting spring to the country, and wishing for a good harvest. Nowadays, they do this also to have fun, to travel to different places and countries. And who was part of the Kurenti? In the past, only unmarried men were allowed to wear kurentia, but today we can see unmarried men, married men, children, and women. And as can we see from the table, the activities of carnival groups have greatly expanded. Carnival customs are part of the extremely varied intangible cultural heritage of Slovenia, which is characterized by small door-to-door rounds of carnival figures for locals on the one hand and big carnivals for tourists on the other. The organization of carnivals festivals has left a mark also on the local carnival heritage, which is increasingly subject to decontextualization, recontextualization, festivalization, commodification, folklorization, and commercialization. This same can be said for Kurenti, the most popular and the most widespread carnival character in Slovenia. The element of the intangible cultural heritage called door-to-door rounds of Kurenti was inscribed on the representative list of UNESCO in 2017. A top-down approach in the field between bearers was in the front during the process of preparing the nomination file. As it turned out, the aim of some of the involved bearers of the ICH was merely to obtain the UNESCO label. For the others, this collective intangible cultural heritage connects them with the past, preserves their interconnectedness, affiliation and identity, and takes care of promoting the region externally. The vitality of intangible cultural heritage is the driving force that transmits customs, habits, knowledge, and skills from one generation to another. And yet, just as our way of life changes, so does the intangible cultural heritage, and with it carnival customs. The flexibility, adaptability, and creativity of heritage bearers will continue to keep researchers busy. So, I wish you a successful Cleveland Kurentovanje.
Thank you so much for that presentation. There's a lot to unpack there. And something that you and I have talked about in the past is how, even though this is such a very old, has such old origins, that it continues to evolve in many different ways. And I think you did a really good job exploring a variety of the ways that it has evolved.
Thank you.
For kind of talking about a little bit about the touristic aspect, I've been to Patui before for Kurentovanje, but can you explain to us a little bit about where these tourists are coming from? How many are there? How does it impact the city? And what kind of support is there from the local community, the businesses, and the government to make this sort of touristic experience happen every year?
Well, so many questions. Actually, the thing is that everything started in the villages around Ptuj. So in 1960, when the first Kurentovanje was organized in Ptuj, there was the beginning of the time when groups of Kurenti are coming to the city. And I don't know exactly from the second half of the 20th century, definitely, we have also groups of Kurenti that are in the city. But this is my point of view about the Kurentovanje, is that it's just like one of the touristic events. Yes, the traditional carnival groups, including Kurenti, are coming to different parades. You have in Kurentovanie in two different parades. One is Ethno parade, that is like only Slovenian traditional masks, and the other one, a week earlier or later, I don't know exactly, is the parade, international one. So actually the carnival groups are coming from the whole world. But as I said in my presentation, the thing is that when these carnival groups are coming to the city, to this touristic event, they're actually only performing. There is no customs, there is no rituals or anything else. This is happening only in the villages. But yes, all these things are bringing money. So there is also a lot of happening, different kind of concerts that people are having fun. So I think that Carnival today is mostly for fun, having fun, doing crazy things, and I think that masks are helping hide identity and to do maybe the things you wouldn't do without mask.
And then let's talk a little bit about the significance of the door-to-door Kurenti and the UNESCO recognition and kind of that village aspect, because I think if you haven't been there before, it's hard to discern what is touristic and what is the ritual or the sanctioned intangible heritage classification. Can you talk a little bit about how these things are different and how, if I were coming to Patui, how would I see the door-to-door portion of the season, Kurentovania, versus the big tents with the rock bands and high ticket prices and drinks and all kinds of more the commercial aspect. So how would I see the door-to-door Kurenti?
Well, actually, you can see, but the purpose of these door-to-door rounds are not for us. They are for the locals. So they are going in their own village, visiting people who are their neighbors, friends, relatives. And you can always go there, but you have to know exactly when they are going around the village, because this is also changing. So this is the difference between when they're going door to door, because it's for them and for the people in their village. But the festival, the Kurentovanie, the touristic event, is for guests, is for tourists, and also for the groups. So mostly people actually don't see door-to-door rounds of Kurenti. I know I'm like working in a field for many years, and people always ask me, how do you get there? And I said, okay, I have to talk on the phone with different kind of people, and then they tell me, okay, no, tomorrow we'll go this way. Okay, no, we changed. The day after tomorrow, we're going to this village, and then we'll probably go to that village. So you have to know where to go. So that's why it's easier to go to the Kurentovanie festival tourist event, because everything is organized. At 2:00 Sunday afternoon, everything starts, and you will see everything. And yeah, the thing is that we as the researchers are so sad. We are very sad about that actually the people who are responsible for Kurentovanie, they don't understand that Kurentovanie is not inscribed at the UNESCO representative list. So the door-to-door rounds of Kurenti are. But yeah, we can't change that.
Thank you for that. We have a couple of questions that have come in from people watching right now about the costume. Can you explain if there is any kind of meaning or significance, or if there's a reason behind why the Kurenti have the ribbons coming from their head? Is there a specific reason that you're aware of?
Well, the thing is that the first reason is to hide the identity. So they actually did the masks from in the past. They did their masks from what they had at home. So this is also the difference between past and nowadays. They went to the farm and they took what they had. They took the bells from cows, put it on, and go. So they were actually ugly, they were scary. But nowadays, actually, you can go, you can buy Kurentia. And as I mentioned, a colleague, Aleš Gačnik, he once said that in the past, they were competing who were more scary and so, but now they're competing who is more beautiful. So actually, people were just using the materials that they had at home. So to hide the identity, I think this was the main reason. We have to know that we have two types of Kurenti. One is the horn Kurentia, so it has like horns, and the other one is with feathers. You know, they have like these colorful, different kind of papers, leaves. So these two types, and actually they are also different because the horn ones, they're coming from Halose, and the other ones from the Ptuj and the surroundings.
Great, thank you for that. Similarly, we have another question that came in about the characteristics of traditional masks and if they're meant to represent particular animals or spirits. I know for the modern, with the children, we saw the children dressed up as different animals. I know there are many different kinds of traditional masks in Ptuj and all over Slovenia. Are there any that you would want to highlight as having any kind of particular representation of animals or different spirits?
Well, yeah, they were actually why animals, because the meaning of the carnival is the fertility, and that's why actually they put different kind of animal masks on them to wish people where they go from door to door. They wish also fertility for animals, the healthy animals, and connecting to this. So we have like the words in English. It's like like a camel. It's like a camel, and then it's like a chicken, and then we have like a bear. So yeah, we have different kind of animal masks, but not as many as we could expect, probably. But yeah, I think that the meaning is the fertility. So, but yeah, well, the sheepskin they are using for different kind of masks. It's just the thing that they had at home. It doesn't represent something special.
Okay, thank you. I also noticed that there was a picture when we were talking about how the costumes are now being commercially made. There was a picture of Marko Klinc, who has a workshop in Ptuj, and this is a person that we have been able to import Kurenti costumes here to Cleveland. And then you also were showing screenshots of Bolha, which is a website for our American audience that's similar to Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and people list their goods on there, and you can arrange a person-to-person transaction. Can you talk a little bit about why did this start happening? How did we get to a place where these ancient mythological traditional costumes are being so widely available, and how that has changed over the last 20 years or so?
I think that the biggest change is because people can afford it. And because it's my personal opinion, because the Kurentovanje made Kurent very famous. So the Kurent is the most numerous carnival figure in Slovenia. And actually they don't have a control anymore who can wear Kurentia. So you can't go anywhere else in no other village in Slovenia and say, okay, I would like to be Škoromat. Can you please make me a mask? And they would say, what? Are you crazy or what? No. And I think this is just the thing how actually the intangible cultural heritage is changing, you know, because the carnival customs are intangible cultural heritage. And this is something that is so, so, so much alive. And I always say that even, I don't know, 30 years ago, we didn't have cell phones, but nowadays we can't even live without them. So actually how our change is our life is changing. Also, actually, the carnival customs are changing. I think that the family clinics is doing a good job because they are still doing all these Kurentia in some way, you know. So when you see Kurent, you know it's a Kurent. So they are not doing any variation of this, and I think it's that this is nothing bad, you know, but I think that the things are just happening. You can't predict in advance what's going to happen. They just started to do it, and now they are having few orders per year. They do Kurentias, and I think it's okay.
Thank you. We have a really interesting question from Lauren on Facebook. She's asking, has there been repression of these celebrations by any religious, and I'll add political groups at any point in history? And if so, how did that impact or shift the tradition of Kurentovanje?
Can you repeat, please?
If there have been any repression of Kurentovanje or Carnival celebrations that have happened throughout time, and if there's been like religious groups or political groups that have tried to stop this from happening.
If this is a question only for Kurentovanje, right? For Kurentovanje festival or
all carnival. I mean, we can open it up broader to carnival in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, during in the history, actually, there were, because carnival is something that the church in Slovenia, the Catholic Church, never approved. They always said no carnivals anymore, because and also in Italy, actually in western part of Slovenia, there was part of Slovenia was under the Italian regime, and because they were so afraid of this Slovenian identity of everything, some of the carnivals were forbidden after the Second World War and even before. So yes, the carnivals are always under the pressure if they can happen or not. Even nowadays, if we look not exactly about the carnival, but about everything, you're not supposed to say gypsies. It happened to me when I was in a village, Vrbica. They have like 60 different carnival figures in one group, and it was like a young girl standing next to me, and they had like a black man taking a camel with him, and she was standing next to me, and she was like, "Black Lives Matter." I'm sorry. I have problems with my voice today. And it's a thing that you have to know the context and everything, how one figure came to the group. Also the women, gypsies, black lives, and so on. So it's always a question about different things.
Thank you. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting dynamics, especially I felt like when I was there as an American, I had my own American context coming in, and it's hard in some ways to contextualize what is being shown there. So thank you for that question, Lauren. Alina New on Facebook was asking another question about Kurents and if there's any connection between Kurents and Krampus. So Krampus, if you're familiar with Krampus, okay, so the German, Austrian based, how would you describe Krampus? You're the expert.
Okay. Krampus is, we have a word parkel. So the Krampus parkel, it's also part of Slovenian tradition, but Krampus, if we use this word, was always a part of the Saint Nicholas. So Saint Nicholas, you know, the bishop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was giving the gifts to the children. This is on the day before, actually the night before of the 6th of December. And actually the Krampus were going with him around the village, so door to door, actually to scare children, to be afraid of, and to be happy if they get a gift. So it's totally different context. But yeah, in, I don't know, in last decade, there is also new touristic events in Slovenia, in Austria, where they're having parades from different Krampus groups. But yes, the Krampus was part of the St. Nicholas group, but the Kurenti, they were part of the Carnival time.
Thank you. One other thing that I wanted to touch on before we start wrapping up is the duration of the carnival season and how you had mentioned that it currently is starting at Candlemas, which I believe is February 2nd.
Yes.
And here we are. We will be celebrating Fat Tuesday, or the day before Ash Wednesday, a whole month later almost. So can you talk about what is it like to have carnival season for approximately a whole month in Slovenia?
That means that actually carnival groups, they have a lot of time to go to different carnivals. I don't know, it was last year, it was like, I don't know, 8-10 days or something. So they were stressed because they had to do so many things, so many door-to-door rounds, so many carnivals, festivals in these few days. But now they have almost a month to do everything. No, more than a month. Yes, you're right. Well, this depends on the Easter. And as I said, 46 days before. Usually people say that after Ash Wednesday, they will start the feast for 40 days. And they don't know that this feast then lasts for 46 days because they don't know that Sundays were non-feasting days. I just think that people, they have more time to go around. And I understand this. People like to gather together, to go together somewhere, and all these societies, they give them opportunity to go somewhere, to present their heritage and to see something new. And I don't mind. I just think that they should stay in their village to do their primarily tradition they had to do.
Thank you. One thing I want to talk to you really quick about is tonight we are also premiering for the week. We have been really lucky to have the distribution rights to make this available online. It's a documentary called Carnival, King of Europe 2.0. Adela, you were involved with this project. Can you tell us a little bit about the Carnival King of Europe project and a little bit about the film that is available for this week for people to watch?
Well, yeah, the Carnival King of Europe was a project. Different countries were involved, and we were researching carnival customs in these different countries. I wasn't filming, but my colleagues did, and we actually tried to find similarities between different countries, between different carnival groups, and we actually found some interesting similarities, differences, and so on. This film is from the project part number 2. We were hoping to get also the project part number 3 because we were actually wanted to do the map of the carnival customs and masks in Europe. I'm not going to say what went wrong that we didn't, but yeah, I think that this video shows a very colorful and very rich carnival heritage in Europe.
So to see that film, again, it's going to be available online all week. So whether you're based in Cleveland or outside the Cleveland area, you'll be able to watch it. You can go to our website, clevelandkurentovania.com, go to the 2025 event schedule, and then there's a link for you to sign up to get another link to go see the film. And we're really grateful for the opportunity. There were a number of different groups involved with making these distribution rights available, and we're really grateful for that. And thank you, Adela, for helping to facilitate that as well. I think that we had a really great conversation, and I'm always so excited to talk to you and get your take on what is happening with this very niche aspect of Slovenian culture, and by extension, the culture that is in the Slovenian American and Cleveland community at large here. And it's just really interesting to see how things have changed, even in the time that I've been involved in. This is our 13th year here in Cleveland. Things change and they evolve, and sometimes for the better, and maybe sometimes not as well, but I think that there's only one thing to do, and that's to roll with it as best as we can. So thank you so much for talking about this, and we really appreciate your time and expertise.
Thank you for the invitation, and I wish you perfect Cleveland's Kurentovania.
Thank you, and you as well.
Thank you.
So the rest of this week, we invite you to participate in the numerous activities that we have planned. Many of them, thanks to our sponsors and grantors, are free to participate. Like I mentioned, that first event that you're going to see on the calendar here is the movie, and that's online. It's streaming all week, so please check that out. And again, it's about different carnival characters throughout Europe and the similarities between them. Tomorrow night, we have the Kurent Jump, and that is a ticketed event. It's almost sold out. You can still get tickets for that online. The next day, on Sunday, we have 2 events, a Slovenian Points of Interest bus tour. That event is sold out. It was free thanks to a grant from the Office of Slovenians Abroad. But we also have an online event on Sunday evening, a conversation with the new Council General here in Cleveland, Susanna, and then our former state Ohio Senator Kenny Yuko, who's Slovenian, and it promises to be a conversation that's inspiring and interesting. But then we have a cooking demonstration online. You can sign up for that. We're going to be making Tinsten Krompir and schnitzel with local area Slovenian American caterer Joe Tavkar. We have a Slovenian wine tasting night, which again is almost sold out, and you can still get tickets available online for that. We have an in-person movie night on February 27th. This is at the Idea Stream Center downtown in the Cleveland State University Film School screening room, and it is a road trip movie. It will be very fun, a really cute date night, or you can bring your friends or your parents, and it will be in Slovenian with English subtitles. On Friday, at the St. Martin de Porres High School, we are having a celebration of women in science. It is an exhibition with a panel talk highlighting European female scientists who have made an impact, and great for those who are interested in the sciences, especially kids. Then on Saturday, March 1st, we will kick off with an early morning 5K. You can still register for the 5K. After the 5K race, we will have doors opening at Slovenian National Home. There will be 4 stages with live performances. Entrance is free and open to the public. There's a 2,000 square foot children's village that has free crafts, activities, face painting, and of course, traditional Slovenian food, music, dancing, celebration all day long until our closing ceremony, which is at 5 p.m. So I hope to see you at one or many of these events. Again, we're really grateful for your participation and for the support of the community to make these possible. Thank you so much, and I wish you a fantastic week of Carnival celebration.